Subject-verb agreement. Subject-verb agreement is just the idea that if your subject is singular, then your verb needs to be singular. Or if your subject is plural, then your verb needs to be plural. Alright, so often the verb, a singular verb, has an S at the end. But a singular subject does not have an S at the end most of the time, depending on exactly what it is. Regular ones. Alright, or plural subjects often do have S's at the end, and plural verbs do not have S's at the end. Okay? Often, and this is not always. But I just wanted to point that out so it's not confusing, because you know that nouns often have S's at the end when they're plural, and sometimes people think, oh, then the verb must have an S too, but no, not if it's plural. I mean, not if it's not if it's plural. It would not have an S normally. All right, well, let's look at some examples. Some basic example to start with here. We have, let's see, she works today. Keep it short for now. All right, we have what? The verb works. That's the action, right? Subject, she. Singular, singular, right? So notice the S at the singular verb? Yeah, okay. Or they work. Notice this is plural and this is plural. No S at the end of the plural verb. Okay. Next, sometimes we have words that separate the subject and the verb. So they come between the subject and the verb. Okay, so for example, the notebook is in my backpack. All right. Well, I didn't put any words between it. I left a bunch of space. But notice this is the main. This is it. This is the subject. You have the subject here and the verb here. But if I wanted to say for history class, it doesn't change the subject. The notebook for history class is in my backpack. And in fact, this is a prepositional phrase. I'm going to put parentheses around this prepositional phrase, or we could cross it out because we know there's a rule that a prepositional phrase never has the subject. And it never has the verb either, by the way, but most people don't confuse anything in the prepositional phrase with the verb, unless you think that because it comes after the subject, it might be the verb. This is the preposition. But no, nothing in the prepositional phrase can be either the subject or the verb. Okay, so the notebook is in my backpack. That one wouldn't have been confusing anyway, because the word that might have been confusing as the subject is class. Class is singular and notebook is singular, so it wouldn't matter if we confused it in this case, because we know it's going to be a singular verb either way. But what if we had this? Here we have the verb is bloom. The subject is not garden. If the subject were garden, it would be blooms. The garden blooms. But it's the roses bloom. That's the... Sorry, that's... the roses is the subject. So the roses in my garden bloom in April. So remember, prepositional phrase can never have the subject or the verb. So I'm crossing that out for that reason, just to show you how much easier it is if you know that rule. Okay? Next, compound subjects. So, subjects that are joined with a conjunction, like Thursday and Friday. So this one is plural because Thursday and Friday, they're two different days. They don't go together really. They're different days. So Thursday and Friday, plural. So we're going to use were, plural. Okay? How about if we had another one, though? How about this one? Macaroni and cheese. Macaroni is one thing and cheese is another, and it's joined with this conjunction here, and so it's like both of them. But think about this. Macaroni and cheese is like, they go together so hand in hand as if they're one item. So in this case, even though there's two of them, they are a single unit. And so they require a singular verb. Okay, so this one is a little unusual. Two items here are singular because these items are like one thing, like chips and salsa. Not like Thursday and Friday, right? Thursday and Friday are not really thought of as the same thing. Macaroni and cheese is a thing. Okay. There's another thing we will worry about, or I will explain, with compound subjects. Okay, we have hot dogs, chicken. Both of these, this is a compound subject, but neither hot dogs nor chicken. So is it singular or is it plural? Well, when you have either neither nor or either or, basically looking at this, nor and or, between the two subjects, the one closest to the verb's going to be here. The one closest to the verb is the one that decides whether it's singular or plural. Because we're not talking about both items, we're talking about this item or that item, or neither this item nor that item. So we're only asking about one of them. But for the grammar rule in terms of deciding whether this compound subject is singular or plural, when they're joined with or nor, make the verb agree with the subject closest to it. All right? And since chicken is closest to it, chicken is singular, so this is singular. Neither hot dogs nor chicken is on the menu. Okay? So let's turn it around, though. How about if it is this way? Neither chicken nor hot dogs. Now we have this one closest to the verb. So this one is plural, so this one's going to be plural also. Okay. How about verbs before subjects? Okay, well, before we do this, let me just do a quick review. The common sentence structure is subject, then verb, and then a complement. You don't have to worry about the complement part here, but this is like an object or a subject complement. All right, but you don't have to worry about this. This is just going to confuse a lot of people. So subject comes before verb in most sentence structures. But there are some exceptions. And to simplify the exceptions, I'll say there's really two exceptions. And that's some or most questions have the verb before the subject. And also sentences with here, whoops, here or there. Here and there can never be the subject. So when I say here is your paper, paper is the subject. Here is an adverb. It's never the subject. So this is an inverted sentence structure. And or there are the handouts. All right. Handouts is the subject. And so here handouts is plural, so the verb has to be plural. Here paper is singular, so the verb has to be singular. Okay. Oh, we also have collective nouns. Okay, a collective noun. That, excuse me a second. Collective nouns name a group of things or people. So maybe like army, audience, band, class. All of these, they represent a group of things or people. Committee, crew, crowd, family, flock, gang, jury, majority, minority, orchestra, senate, team, and troop. Those are collective nouns. Collective nouns, though, can be either singular or plural. Well, how do you know when one is singular and when one is plural? Well, they're singular when they refer to a group as a single unit. And they're plural when they refer to the individual actions or feelings of the group members. So, for example, sorry, I'm trying to do this quickly. I only have about 10 minutes. So, the string quartet. All right, and that's a group. That's a collective noun. But if we're talking about as a unit, we're going to use a singular verb. Okay, if we're talking about it as the individual members, then it's going to be plural. So, for example, if they each get different instruments, they're instruments or something. Let's say the string quartet get their new instruments on Monday. All right, so obviously it's not the whole band that's getting it. It's each member, so this is different people. So singular. So like one. Oh, I'm sorry, it's plural. Sorry, my bad. I know it's like individual members, so I think about it as singular sometimes. I was almost thinking about it as singular. But when it's the individual actions of the group members, then it's plural. So since each group member is getting his or her instrument, it's the string quartet as plural. They get their new instruments on Monday. Okay. All right, let's move on to when the indefinite pronouns are subjects. Okay, so an indefinite pronoun, like here, I'll give you a few. Another anybody, or anyone also. Each. All right, these, and there's a whole lot of others that are always singular. You'll have to look in your book to see which ones are singular and which ones are always singular, that is, and which ones are always plural. But then there's a few that are either singular or plural. But let's go ahead and, if you look at that list in your textbook, you'll see which ones are singular. And so I'm going to go ahead and give you an example. No one. By the way, let's look at this. One is singular always, right? Even if it's everyone. Singular, all right? Or everybody. A body is one thing, right? Okay, so these are singular ones. No one ever changes at work. Changes, singular. Remember the S is on many of those singular verbs. All right, so no one is the subject. Changes is your verb. All right, everyone or everybody, either way. I'm just going to use the same. This would work for either one of these. This is singular, right? So we need a plural verb. Refuses to work harder. Ouch. Everybody refuses to work harder. That's what society may be coming to. I sure hope not. Maybe it's just part of some culture. Some cultures, our culture. I'm not going to get political, though. Let's just move along. Or plural. Of course, these are singular. All right, plural, we have many. And let's say take. All right, it's plural, so there's no S at the end of this verb. All right, I'm going to keep this sentence short. Many take long lunches. And then I feel like I'm missing something. Oh yeah, of course. The ones that sometimes are some indefinite pronouns. We're talking about indefinite pronouns are either singular or plural. All right, so look at that list in your textbook. But how do you know if one of these is singular or plural? Here, we're just going to use all for a moment. So here we go. All of my money is or are gone. Is gone. I know you probably would have just said it that way, but let's show you why. Now, a few moments ago we talked about a prepositional phrase cannot be the subject or the verb, and I had crossed it out. But when you have one of these indefinite pronouns that can either be singular or plural, the word that decides whether it's singular or plural is the object of the pronoun. That's right, the word at the end of the I'm sorry, did I say object of the pronoun? Sorry, I'm talking about a pronoun here, but no, the object of the preposition. That is the word at the end of the prepositional phrase. Remember, a prepositional phrase starts with a preposition, ends with a noun or pronoun. And so here it is. I'm just going to put it in parentheses so you can see. All is gone is kind of, well, let me say this again. So money is the word at the end of the prepositional phrase that follows this, between the subject and the verb. Money is the one that decides whether it's singular or plural, so it's funny because it's not the subject, but it does decide whether it's singular or plural. Money is a collective noun that is singular, and so the verb needs to be singular. How about this one? Both of the pools were... Wait, no, that's always plural. Let's not do that one. How about one that is... Yeah, most is one. Most. All right, most of my friends seem or seems? It's seem because friends is not the subject, but it decides whether most is singular or plural. Friends is plural, so seem is the verb, not seems. Because seem does not have the S, so it's plural. All right? Follow? All right, I think that's it for today. And we're done. Good luck.